Emotional entanglements frequently resemble invisible threads that quietly link us and control our thoughts, actions, and, eventually, happiness. But what if we could learn the skill of emotional resilience by applying the wisdom of classical Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius? Stoicism, a philosophy based on the pursuit of reason and self-control, provides us with important insights for managing our emotional environments. One of the most renowned Stoic philosophers, Marcus Aurelius, advises us to face life's obstacles with fortitude and serenity by emphasizing the importance of focusing on what we have the power to alter. We go deeply into the profound teachings of Stoicism in order to give you strategies for emotional detachment from relationships that might no longer be beneficial to you. You embark on a revolutionary journey towards personal freedom when you apply Stoic wisdom, not just a detour from unpleasant emotions. Imagine being able to handle the emotional ups and downs of life with the composure of a Stoic philosopher whose decisions are based on reason rather than impulsive feelings. For emotional detachment, then, why focus on Stoicism? Because it teaches us that real power comes from how we react to outside events rather than from the events themselves. Stoic principles assist us in developing a mental toughness that protects us from emotional upheavals and allows us to preserve our inner peace regardless of external pressures. You'll learn to enjoy the liberating clarity that comes with this philosophical approach as we explore these timeless insights together, as well as how to detach from emotional dependencies. Come along with me on this insightful journey to uncover the power of your own spirit via the insightful teachings of Stoic philosophy. As always, if you value what we're doing here, I kindly ask that you perform the following easy, gratuitous favor. Click the subscribe button. Now let's move. Within the Stoic tradition, developing self-awareness is essential to gaining emotional independence, as well as serving as a tool for personal understanding. The importance of understanding the reasons behind our actions and feelings is emphasized by the Stoics, such as Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This poignant statement highlights the Stoic idea that true control originates within and does not come from changing our outward circumstances. Determine why particular relationships or emotional ties no longer contribute favorably to your life in order to start the detachment process. Are they harmful, exhausting, or possibly out of alignment with your personal development? Understanding your why is essential because it strengthens your determination and helps your actions align with your higher philosophical or personal objectives. Reflecting thoroughly on our relationships and asking ourselves if they serve our highest good is a practice that Stoicism instructs us to do. This practice echoes the Socratic method of asking probing questions to get to deeper truths. Another key figure in Western philosophy, Aristotle, addressed this subject as well, albeit from a rather different perspective. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, he put forth. Sincere assessment of our attachments is necessary for this introspective journey in order to identify those that obstruct our capacity to live moral lives in accordance with Aristotelian and Stoic principles. Epictetus maintained that the only things we should worry about are those within our power. His lessons exhort us to make a distinction between the events themselves and our reactions to them. By doing this, we limit the focus of our efforts to our responses, which are under our control. An example of putting this principle into practice is to consider your relationships and how they affect your emotional health. What facets of this relationship can I influence? Ask yourself. Does the other person value and return my emotional investment? You embrace a larger philosophical tradition that values personal autonomy, reason, and self-knowledge in addition to Stoic detachment by taking these steps. This process is about realigning your outward relationships with your inner values and objectives, not about cutting links out of spite or indifference. Making room for development on both a spiritual and emotional level opens the door to healthier interactions and more personal fulfillment. As you start to live in accordance with your own values, rather than just reacting to the world around you, This alignment is where real strength resides. Stoic philosophy opposes suppression as a means of managing and expressing emotions in health. Rather, it is about incorporating emotions into your life in a way that supports your health and logical mind. The Stoics held that we can control how we respond, even though we cannot always control what happens to us. The Stoic theory of emotions is based on the famous quote from Epictetus, "It's not what happens to you, but how you act to it that matters." Understanding and accepting your feelings without letting them dictate your actions is the first step toward effective emotional management. Stoicism teaches us to observe our emotions objectively, as though they were external events, a practice that closely matches with contemporary cognitive behavioral therapy methods. Before we act on our emotional responses, we can use this technique to determine whether they are logical and productive. Finding healthy ways to let your emotions out without hurting other people or yourself is part of healthy emotional expression. This could entail writing, as Marcus Aurelius himself performed through his meditations, in which he meditated on his thoughts and emotions in order to obtain clarity and understanding. In contrast, engaging in physical activity can be a great method to release tension and channel energy, aligning with the Aristotelian idea that virtue entails action and that physical health is correlated with spiritual health. Additionally, talking openly and honestly about feelings with friends or a therapist can help relieve discomfort and promote a deeper understanding. Seneca wrote a great deal about the advantages of friendship and conversation for emotional health, suggesting that a friend might act as a mirror to our souls, helping us see more clearly. Managing emotions benefits notably from the Stoic practice of journaling or introspection. This process promotes resilience and a deeper understanding by helping to analyze the sources and effects of emotions, as well as helping to detach from immediate emotional impulses. We can learn to respond to life's obstacles with a more stoic attitude by routinely evaluating our emotional state and choosing to respond with reason rather than reactive emotion. The Stoic guideline for managing and expressing your emotions properly is striking a balance between acknowledging and expressing your emotions in ways that contribute to personal development and inner peace, rather than suppressing or overwhelming them. This methodical technique results in what the Stoics called ataraxia, or a deep peace of mind that comes from living in balance with reason. Understanding what we can control and letting go of what we cannot are essential to living a virtuous life, according to Stoicism. Applying this wisdom to relationships and interactions, we learn to put limits around what we can influence our actions, responses, and decisions. As Epictetus famously said, "Some things are in our control and others not." Respect for oneself and others, as well as self-preservation, are the main goals of healthy boundaries rather than loneliness or indifference to others. In addition to honoring the nature of others, Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of acting in accordance with one's nature. By clearly articulating how we want to be treated and what we anticipate in our personal and professional relationships, we honor our values and inspire others to do the same. This balance is the foundation of setting effective boundaries. Setting limits practically entails constant enforcement and clear communication. It entails saying no when anything interferes with your well-being or doesn't act in accordance with your values. It might entail deciding not to engage in talks with particular people or reducing the time spent with them. Cause discomfort or tension. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, advocated for a reciprocal approach to relationships that is only feasible with defined boundaries. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. Boundaries are considered essential for emotional health in contemporary psychology. They aid in defining a person's identity and interactions with the outside world. Healthy limits can help avoid problems that the Stoics understood to be incompatible with living a life of virtue and reason: resentment, burnout, and emotional tiredness. We preserve our emotional space by setting and upholding boundaries, which also helps to build relationships built on respect and understanding between people. The Stoic philosophy of living according to reason and virtue is strongly entwined with the rule to set healthy boundaries. When we set clear limits, we live more honestly in line with both our internal and exterior values, leading to what the Stoics called eudaimonia, or flourishing, or true happiness. This practice is about deliberately developing a full, calm, and truly rewarding life, rather than just avoiding harm. This has its roots in the Stoic school of thought, which emphasizes the growth of the self through self-control, wisdom, and understanding. Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius were among the Stoics who held that internal control over one's situation was the path to true independence, as opposed to being influenced by outside events. The only worthy goal in life is freedom. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control, said Epictetus in a well-known statement. Focusing on your own thoughts and actions as the primary sources of happiness and fulfillment is advocated when developing self-reliance. Having an internal locus of control, or the conviction that your actions influence how your life turns out, is necessary for this. This viewpoint is in line with what Marcus Aurelius stated in his Meditations. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within your attitudes, in your way of thinking. Stoicism introduces the practice of self-examination and continuous learning as a means of promoting personal development. This entails evaluating your strengths and weaknesses, setting personal virtue goals, and working diligently and with resilience to achieve them. Such practices increase self-awareness and contribute to a deeper, more grounded sense of self. As conquering hardship is considered as a path to personal strength and wisdom, the Stoics also advocated for taking on problems head-on. The famous quote from Seneca states it this way: "It is not that things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Furthermore, reducing reliance on outside approval is a necessary part of growing self-reliant. This means appreciating others' ideas without depending on them for decisions or self-worth. It does not imply rejecting relationships or isolating oneself. It has to do with discovering self-assurance and contentment, which is a state that Stoicism seeks to foster with its emphasis on control and virtue. In actuality, a variety of routines and acts can be used to promote personal development and self-reliance. Understanding and self-control can be strengthened through regular reflection via journaling, meditation, and reading philosophical materials. Setting personal goals that align with your values fosters development and shows that you can rely on yourself to handle the pressures of life. You embrace the Stoic objective of developing into a more whole and self-sufficient person by working on these traits. This enhances your interactions with others, enabling you to engage in life more truly and profoundly. It also equips you to handle life's uncertainties with grace. Building a life where you are the principal architect of your happiness and virtue, essentially living in harmony with nature, is the essence of cultivating personal development and self-reliance. Epictetus, the renowned Stoic philosopher, expounded on this principle when he said, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it occurs." By focusing instead on their responses to outside events, this method relieves people of the stress of attempting to control the unpredictable world. Stoicism defines mindfulness as the deliberate observation of our thoughts and emotions without attachment or instant reaction. We learn to accept our emotional responses and thoughts as transient states that don't have to dictate how we act by practicing mindfulness. This echoes Socrates' idea of an examined life, suggesting that understanding our inner workings is essential to living properly. With his counsel in Meditations, Marcus Aurelius encourages us to observe the flow of our thoughts and learn from them in order to gain control over our reactions. The ability to accept the reality of our circumstances without opposition or denial is another essential component of this guideline. An idea that can greatly lessen personal stress is the Stoic belief that peace results from aligning ourselves with the natural course of events. Seneca clarified this when he said that we shouldn't endure suffering before it is absolutely necessary, pointing out that a great deal of our worries and fears are caused by our unwillingness to accept reality as it is. In actuality, basic daily activities might be a good place to start when practicing acceptance and mindfulness. Making time every day to spend introspectively thinking about your feelings and thoughts will help you develop a mindfulness habit. Techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or even mindful walking are ways to improve this practice, helping you stay present and conscious in the moment. Individuals can obtain a more balanced perspective by applying these Stoic principles into daily life, which makes it simpler to detach from unhelpful or unneeded emotional entanglements. By enabling people to live more in harmony with reality and less in conflict with life's inevitable changes and difficulties, this balanced approach not only promotes emotional resilience, but also enhances general well-being. We learn to deal with life with more composure and less anxiety through such practices, which are advocated by both ancient philosophers and contemporary psychologists. It's vital to take stock of our journey as we come to the end of our exploration of Stoic principles for emotional detachment. We can apply the ageless wisdom of Stoicism to modern life because of its rich legacy and profound insights into the nature of human emotions and resilience. The 5 guidelines we've covered aren't simply strategies. They're also ways to live a life that is more content and in balance. This journey into Stoicism tells us that detachment is about breaking free from the passions that disrupt our peace and impair our judgment, not about indifference or emotional numbness. Marcus Aurelius advises us to adjust to the situation as it is, emphasizing that our happiness is determined by how we choose to respond to situations rather than by external things. We are urged to examine ourselves, discover our equilibrium, and act with reason and virtue in this essence of Stoicism. Remember that Stoicism is a philosophy for a lifetime as you apply these principles to your daily life. It challenges your perceptions, encourages you to constantly engage with your thoughts, and encourages you to work toward a calm mind. Focusing on what we can control is especially important in this situation, according to Epictetus. We align ourselves more closely with Stoic principles by focusing on our actions and attitudes, leading to greater contentment and emotional resilience. Let this Stoic wisdom principle exploration serve as a beginning, not a finish, to your continued exploration of these principles. Each day presents a fresh opportunity to apply these insights, encouraging not only detachment from harmful influences, but also a deeper engagement with the essential values that influence life genuinely worth living. Accept this wisdom and watch how it changes your approach as well as your relationships to the difficulties of life. This is the essence of Stoicism: continuous growth, learning, and adaptation in the pursuit of virtue and peace. As you proceed down this path, bear Seneca's words in mind. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. Watch our upcoming film, which will go deeper into the Stoic way of life and improve your understanding and application of Stoic philosophy. For more insights and practical tips, we appreciate your participation in our community, where we all learn from one another and get better every day. See you shortly.